And welcome to the Mark Scaringi Show. This is your place for constitutional conservatism. This is where we talk about the important political and legal issues of the day from the perspective of putting America first. Our topic today, Show Me the Man, Trump's political prosecution of an innocent Olympian. And welcome back. Yesterday, July 31st of 2026, that's actually 2 days ago now, federal prosecutors in the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia moved to dismiss the felony destruction of property charge against former Olympian David Hearn. He had been accused of vandalizing the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. In their court filing, the prosecutor said newly provided documents from the Department of Interior showed the widespread peeling and damage came from a botched, flawed installation by the contractor Atlantic Industrial Coatings and the rush to finish the work before the America 250 and Independence Day events, not from vandalism. They noted it would be hard to prove vandalism beyond a reasonable doubt, especially with damage to the middle of the pool and other areas unlikely to be reached by someone deliberately peeling the liner. At least one related misdemeanor case was also dismissed. Hearn's attorneys called the prosecution an abuse of power and said the administration owes him an apology. The formal dismissal still needs the judge's order, but prosecutors have withdrawn the case. This directly reverses the administration's earlier public claims, including those from President Trump and U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, that the problems were mainly the work of deliberate vandals and saboteurs. Let's be clear about what this was. Prosecutors have a solemn duty not to bring political prosecutions. That is exactly, however, what happened here. The president did not want to be embarrassed. His private, no-bid contractor messed up the renovations, largely because the president rushed the project to get it done before the nation's 250th anniversary celebrations, and then drove his presidential motorcade over the empty pool. It was Trump who caused the failure of the reflecting pool. But Trump is a liar and would not own up to it. So his top officials found an innocent man, David Hearn, and charged him with the crime of vandalizing the pool in order to cover up for Trump's own incompetence. Now, this is deplorable conduct by Trump, his Department of Justice, and his top officials. It was wrong from every angle, morally, legally, and ethically. Using the criminal justice system to protect a president from the consequences of his own screw-up is an abuse of power. It violates the basic principle that the law applies equally and that prosecutors must pursue justice, not political cover for their boss, the president. Charging an innocent citizen to deflect blame is the opposite of justice. Lavrentiy Beria, Joseph Stalin's secret police chief, is remembered for the chilling line, "Show me the man, and I'll show you the crime." That is the authoritarian mindset. Identify the person you need to punish or scapegoat, then stretch or event a charge to fit. Trump is acting like a corrupt dictator by having an innocent man prosecuted to hide his own failure. History is full of such political prosecutions. In the Dreyfus affair of the 1890s, French authorities railroaded an innocent Jewish army officer, Alfred Dreyfus, on fabricated treason charges. The real problem was a leak inside the army itself, but rather than face institutional embarrassment, they chose a convenient scapegoat. Dreyfus spent years on Devil's Island before the truth emerged. In the early American Republic, the Alien and Sedition Acts under President John Adams were used to prosecute newspaper editors and political opponents of the Federalists, Jeffersonian Republicans, for criticizing the government. These were not neutral applications of the law. They were tools to silence dissent and protect the party in power. Under Woodrow Wilson, the Espionage and Sedition Acts led to the prosecution of anti-war voices, including socialist leader Eugene Debs, who was sentenced to 10 years for a speech opposing the draft. The government was not defending national security so much as punishing political disagreement. In the Soviet Union, show trials, like the trial of 1928, saw engineers and managers charged with sabotage when industrial projects failed. The real causes were often unrealistic quotas and poor planning by the regime. Rather than admit incompetence, the state produced villains. These cases share a pattern. When those in power face embarrassment, failure, or political inconvenience, they reach for the criminal law and use it as a weapon. An innocent person is selected, a narrative is constructed, the machinery of the state is turned against a private citizen to protect the powerful. That is precisely what appears to have happened with David Hearn and the reflecting pool. Our founding fathers understood the danger of leaders who subordinate truth and justice to self-interest. Thomas Jefferson wrote, "It is of great importance to set a resolution not to be shaken, never to tell an untruth. There is no vice so mean, so pitiful, so contemptible. And he who permits himself to tell a lie once finds it much easier to do it a second and third time, till at length it becomes habitual. This falsehood of the tongue leads to that of the heart, and in time depraves all its good dispositions." Jefferson also said, "Honesty is the first chapter in the book of wisdom." George Washington declared that honesty is always the best policy, in public as well as private affairs. John Adams reminded us that facts are stubborn things. When a president and his officials abandon those principles, when they choose the scapegoat over the truth, they corrode the foundations of the republic. This was not a close call or a good faith mistake. The evidence of the contractor's botched, rushed work was available to all. Instead of owning the failure, the administration pointed at vandals and put a 3-time Olympian in the crosshairs of a felony prosecution. That's not leadership, that's abuse of power. For me, I'm not going to be lied to. I don't know about you, but that's the kind of man I am. Maybe some of my Facebook friends have a higher tolerance for being lied to. Maybe they enjoy it, or maybe they're so deep in Trump derangement syndrome that they can no longer tell the truth from a lie, or never could. I still can. The record is now clear. The damage to the reflecting pool was not caused by David Hearn. It was caused by a rushed, flawed renovation driven by the president's timeline and priorities. When that failure became public, the response was not taking accountability. It was a political prosecution of an innocent man. That is wrong morally, legally, and ethically. It has no place in the United States of America. Well, that's the Mark Scaringi Show. I call it like I see it. And unlike some of my friends on Facebook, I can still tell the truth from a lie. Stay with me as we talk about some other topics of the day that are important for our restoration of our constitutional republic. Thank you.